All right, what's up, guys? Zach here, and I want to share with you how to fix Gmail clipping. So, if your emails are getting clipped, this is going to tell you exactly how to fix it. So, as you can see in my email inbox within Gmail, even if you're a massive brand, you can still run into these issues where your message is getting clipped. So, this is what happens. It's basically cutting off the message within your inbox. So, if you'd have to like click this little button and see this to actually view the full message. So you can see this happens, and this is a really big brand, and this still happens to them. So it can happen to anyone really. It's happening right here, and here's another one that I tagged where it's happening again. So definitely don't want that to happen. Reason is number one, the tracking pixel that's used to calculate your open rate will also be clipped because that's normally at the bottom of your email. So your open rates are going to be really messed up if you have the pixel at the bottom of your email. It's of course going to cut off important information in your footer. And overall, it's going to make your email seem lower quality and make your brand, therefore, seem really low quality as well. So you definitely don't want this happening. So what's the actual root cause of this? Really, there's too much HTML junk within your email. So to avoid clipping, you need to make sure that your email code, your email file size is less than 85 kilobytes once it's sent out. And so within Klaviyo or other ESPs, you can actually see how big your email is. So in this case, this email is only 50 kilobytes. This is going to be in the top right when you're creating your email campaign. So ideally, you're less than 85 kilobytes total. 85 to 95 kilobytes, you might clip in Gmail, and greater than 95 kilobytes is, very likely that it's going to be clipped in Gmail. So a really common misconception is that you have too big of images. However, it's actually not about the images. Not going to get into the super technical details here, but having large images, yes, it's going to make your emails load slowly and decrease conversions, just like a slow website would. But this is not related to the clipping email, clipping the emails. Instead, a couple things that are definitely going to affect it instead. I'm going to go through all of these, and then I'm going to actually go through why I think that these actual emails are getting clipped by this particular brand. So how to fix it? Number one, you don't want to use too much dynamic content, conditional statements, and conditional blocks. This just adds a lot of extra code and makes it very difficult. There's just a lot of extra stuff in there, and so it's going to be difficult to hit that file size limit with a lot of this dynamic content and conditional blocks. If you have kind of like, if this happens, then show this block, don't do that. Section background images. So it doesn't look like there's images in the background, like this like white part right here. But if you did have an image in the background, like it's something you technically can do, but definitely I don't recommend it. You want to consolidate blocks and sections as much as possible. So again, this just goes down to simplicity. The more simple your email is, the smaller the file size. So you don't want to have like 12 different sections and a bunch of different columns and a bunch of different layouts and things like that. Instead, like in this case, if it's all images, that's perfectly fine. You just don't want to have a bunch of different sections. And also reducing these are all really long emails, which normally is fine. You just have to watch out for that file size. So if the email is super long, it's going to be more likely that the file size is really large. Removing unnecessary styles. So you just need to make sure, like if you're copying and pasting text, that you're pasting it as plain text. That's what this is saying right here. But in this case, what I see is the issue. There's a lot of like links within this footer, and this entire thing is like, the background is this kind of tan color, and I think that combined with everything else. The fact that we have this section, that we have a massive long email, and that we have a bunch of links and stuff like that, like formatting up here, all of that is contributing to this, which I'll get to more detail later. Disable embedded style. So this is just kind of in the settings. It's just a setting that you can change in order to kind of optimize your code. Remove your header link and link bar blocks. So this is where I see like the biggest issue is that they have this navigation bar at the top. So I highly recommend not having it. Number one, just for conversions, you're kind of leading people away from the main body of the email and they're just going straight to this without actually reading anything. And it's going to hurt your file size. Okay. And then desktop and mobile only content. So I highly don't recommend having specific blocks for desktop or specific blocks for mobile just because that code is going to be massive. So actually looking at these emails here, number one, what I would do is remove this navigation bar. And then two, like this formatting right here, you can see like this is actual text. And so this is for sure adding a ton of code. So like this little gray block, I would instead make this part all an image and I would get rid of these links here. I think that's like the primary thing, and that just doing that is going to help them a ton. Number two is reducing the length of the email. If that navbar thing doesn't reduce the file size enough, just making a shorter email with less images and less sections is definitely going to help. If they do on the back end, I'm not sure, I can't see right now, but if they do have any conditional blocks or extra formatting, certainly going to hurt conversion. So they definitely want to reduce the number of conditional blocks and extra formatting. This section right here is for sure going to increase the file size. So if you have like product blocks, like we do that a lot, but you need to make sure like when you're doing this, you're just looking at the file size. So in this case, they might need to take out these buttons because these buttons are going to, massively increase the file size. And then this footer is going to be really massive. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 links within the footer. And it's all formatted, which, it looks nice, but what you can instead do is, you can either have an alternative footer or for really massive file sizes, or just make your regular footer smaller and reduce the number of links and just overall make it simpler. So yeah, overall, that's how they can fix this clipping issue. You don't have to apply all of these changes to every single email. You just need to look at, for each individual email, like what's the file size. And if there is a massive file size for one particular email, because again, this is not happening on every single email, it's just happening on a few. Just for those particular emails, that's where you can go and you can reduce this content, take out the nav bar, take out these unnecessary styles and extra formatting and colors and all that dynamic content that just adds a bunch of code to your email. So I hope you got a ton of value out of this. If you are looking for help with this and you're running a D2C brand, feel free to hit us up and we can definitely do an audit of what you guys are currently doing with your campaigns and your flows. And we can tell you all these, tips and tricks and kind of do a full, full build out or, monthly service for you guys. So let me know if that makes sense and appreciate your time.